Alan Ross, and I'm the managing editor of APC Technologies. We're here at the IRISS ODSR, which is Operator Driven Safety and Reliability Conference in Sarasota, Florida. We're sponsored by IRISS and SDT, and of course APC Technologies. We've done interviews with thought leaders and with practitioners of the operator-driven safety and reliability programs, and just the idea of changing the way we do what we do in maintenance and reliability in the marketplace. There's some fascinating interviews here. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you learn. My next guest is Drew Walts. Drew's in charge of training. You're one of the guys that helped build a lot of the training modules here at IRISS. We're at the IRISS Distributor Conference. For those that couldn't come, I listened to your presentations, and for those that couldn't come, you got 5 minutes to talk about what you talked about here and to encourage them to get in touch with you and find out more. Talk about it a little bit.
So we've developed ISO category 18436 1 through 3 for both infrared part 7 and ultrasound part 8, based off the outline that ISO has for what's required in training. So it's very in-depth. It goes very well together because we've really driven the integration approach to the training as well, because there's so many crossovers on what we can do with both. So we've made sure that we had the IRISS touch to it, that we're using infrared and ultrasound, just like some of our products. But the main thing is to really drive home what people can do, because so many people only come into training with one aspect in mind. I can only do this with my infrared camera, I can only do that with my ultrasound. And they always leave astonished that, you know, I didn't know I could do mechanical, I didn't know I could do steam trap and valves. So they're really losing out on all the capabilities by only thinking about electrical or only thinking about mechanical when there's all these other crossovers.
Some of the distributors are also service companies that go out and service it. That's going to be valuable for them. And some of them are primarily they're selling cameras, selling equipment. Whichever one it is, it's going to be an advantage for them to understand fully how much the training can help of their customers. So it's get them to get their customers involved in it. Talk about this. It's okay. You and I mentioned a little bit. ODSR level 1, 2, and 3. ODSR is a concept that Martin is passionate about. He and I have been talking about it for a decade. Operator-driven safety and reliability. Operator-driven reliability has been around for about 20 years. It's beginning to get implemented in the marketplace. What we think is we should do it as an ODSR, operator-driven safety and reliability. But you've either developed or are developing some level courses for that too?
Yeah, so we'll be looking to take that vertical market for all the different applications, because obviously when you're talking about ODSR at a fulfillment center, it's going to be different than a heavy metal industry. You know, so everybody can have operator-driven safety and reliability, and we have that in place in our paint booth as our first launch point for us, and we're going to be rolling it out to all the operators inside of IRISS as well, so they can quickly identify and look into the paint booth connections and see, you know, do any of the thermal clips, did they change color? And if so, then they can contact me. I go out with the infrared camera and the ultrasound, try to give it further. So we have to understand that each site's going to have a different necessity. Each operator is going to have their own ownership, that they're looking at that asset. That's theirs, it's their pride, it's their joy, it's where they work. So now you put that in to them as well too, that look, you can ensure that this piece of equipment's running all the time, that you can keep doing your function here and you don't have any downtime yourself by understanding the benefits of ODSR. So when we start developing these courses, we're going to have to look into specifically all these different vertical markets, and how would we launch it for the U.S. Postal Service, for example, you know, if that was somewhere we want to market, or how would we take it to Amazon, where there might be a lot of different things. So each one of those assets would have to be looked at from the ODSR perspective. We can't necessarily just blanket it because there's so many differences.
Yeah, not every operator is the same, is what you're saying. Yes. Because not every operation is the same. You showed me a little while ago something from 1981. I know you got it right there. Lift that bad boy up.
Yeah, so this...
Talk about it.
So this magazine was what inspired me and made me really curious. I was always a National Geographic fan, but this one particular energy one that came out in 1981 front to back cover infrared. And then you flip through it, and they've got some really old school pictures that you can fold out, and then they've got all the different people and different levels of clothing.
Gosh. Yeah.
And how old is that IR camera? It's probably a nitrogen cooled one from Micron or somebody, but that captured my curiosity. So, fortunately for us, we have eBay these days, so I was able to repurchase this recently because I just wanted to have this article again. So this really inspired me about infrared, got me really curious, and then I got to use it in the military, I used it in the fire service, started with my last company on the ultrasound side, but I was also doing some service work on the side using infrared and ultrasound for one of the clients down in Fishkill, New York. I'd go help them out in New York City on the weekends and do different things. So infrared has been near and dear to my heart for years. I never thought that this article would spur a 20-year career now for me, that moment of curiosity in that magazine could take me to where I am now. And that curiosity is what drives me to ensure that training and that enthusiasm is conveyed in our material as well. Because I feel a lot of times we're remiss as trainers, we know the subject very well, but how do we get the students engaged? How do we get them enthused? And we have to carry our passion on to them, and that's how we get them to learn.
Is that a reprint or?
No, this is an original 1981 National Geographic February edition. So, it's fair condition.
How much did you have to pay for that?
I paid more in shipping than I did for the magazine.
Did you really?
It was $5 on eBay.
I think we ought to buy 20 of them, 30 of them, 50 of them, and I think at training you ought to handle a lot, because it is just when I was flipping through it, by the way, I was trying to take it from you. I noticed you made sure when I walked away that I wasn't holding on to it, Drew.
Yeah,
hey,
that's
great.
Right there next to my Principles of Sound. That I
should have brought that one too. We'd have shown that. Okay.
No, that'd be another subject for another day.
Drew, thank you so much.
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.